Hey, I'm Ryan at Yurt in the Dirt, and congratulations on buying your new ORON model. In this video, we'll take you through all of the steps to build your yurt from start to finish. But if you have questions along the way, just give us a call or shoot us a message. We'll be happy to help. Cheers, enjoy the video.
Door. One trestle panel. The bay window with a view of cows. Trestle, short trestle. Window, it's already here with trestle. 1730 panel, window panel, panel, window panel, back to the start.
Oh yeah.
Door frame going into place here.
So on this side we've used a small washer and a bolt head, and then on this side we've used a large washer, a spring washer and a nut to lock it in. So that's all good for these standard wall panels. But over here, this is where our standard window is going to slot into this, right? So what we need to do here is we actually need to create a recess so that this bolt can fit in here flush. Right, so what we're going to do is just using a spade bit, is put that in there. So now, see, our bolt head is going to be nice and recessed.
Beautiful.
So ideally, we would have this done in the factory, but it's been missed on this one. So if that does happen, it's as simple as that to fix it up. And this is a 20mm spade bit. You can see this is where a standard window will go. We don't need to install this window frame yet. That'll actually happen after the covers. So at this point, we haven't fixed anything down to the deck, so it's all still somewhat movable. And we won't do that until we're happy with how everything's sitting and everything's screwed in tight. And then what we'll be doing is we'll either be using our long screws through in multiple areas into the joists, just coming straight through our frame, or we may even use some bugles.
All right, give it some hefty.
Got it. Shoot. So what we're going to do now, we're going to grab our large window. The rest of the wall panels are in and everything's tight. So this is the last step. We're going to bring the large window frame in, and essentially it's going to screw in. Where's our screws? Okay, so we're going to use these, the shorter of the two length screws. And all we've done here is we've just pre-drilled a little bit, just because we'll actually embed these screws in slightly. So we're going to screw through into the window frame once it's sitting in correctly in place. All right, so what you want to do here is you need a scaffold that's well and truly high enough to handle your yurt height. In this case, it's an 8-meter yurt. It's got a 4-meter center height. So you need to get a couple of people up there to hold this ring in place while you're putting in roof rafters. And you need to get at least 6 or 7 or 8 roof rafters in to get started like this before that's actually stable and supported. And now we can jump down from the scaffold. That ring's all supported, and we're just going to keep inserting roof rafters all the way around.
Got it.
All right, so I'll show you what I mean with these roof rafters. So what you want to do is you actually want to pop that over the top first. Then you want to get on this side. You want to get this above the top of the wall plate. Then you want to slot your end in. Okay, so my end's in. And now from here, all we're doing is literally just dropping it into place. Sometimes you got to push this out with your shoulder a bit, or pull it in when we screw them. But it's as simple as that. So I'll just take you through the stage that we've got to now. So we start with the front door, right? So we put our front door frame where we want that. And then we've gone around and positioned all of our wall panels. Now, if you want to switch any of these from your original design, you can. And we've actually done that in this one. So that window wasn't originally going to go there, but we've placed it there. Also, with these wall panels, they're interchangeable. They can turn upside down. So for example, this panel here's got the lattice plus the standard window pane in it. So if you decided that you wanted that lattice on that side and the window on that side, you could just flip that panel over. And essentially we've just gone around and bolted each of those together, top and bottom. Once we've done that and we're happy with the position, then we've come through and we've put in bugles. In this case, we've just put bugles through. But if this was a concrete slab, you would be doing Dynabolts or Chemi anchors. And then once the frame is finished, then we've moved on to the roof rafters. And essentially it's just a matter of getting that top ring into place, that compression ring, and putting in the roof rafters, slotting them in from the top. And then finally, once they are all done, we've spaced them as evenly as possible all the way around. And then we've come through and screwed into each one of these straight through into the frame. And now we're ready for covers. Cool. So that's a wrap on day one of our 8-metre ORON Yurt. Tomorrow we'll be ready for the covers. It'll start to really take shape. It's a great day. It's really looking beautiful, and we'll take you along. Excited to show you the finished product. So now, do you want to pass me the neck bit?
The neck bit?
Do you reckon? Yeah. But no, this is the neck right here.
Found it.
Yeah. This is how we do it. I've got the most important job. I'm standing here, basically supervising. And I'll also be here to catch it if the wind picks up. All right, so we've fed it around, seams facing outwards, so that the nice side is on the inside, as you can see. All right, and then the door has a cutout in it already, so you want to position your door correctly. You probably won't get it right first time. You know, you start getting this out, then you figure out where the door is, and then you just have to shimmy it around. Takes a few people, a few helping hands here, really goes a long way. And then you're just pulling this drawstring tight once you're finished. Get it nice and neatly sitting in there. Get the seams as straight as possible. But it's not super critical. Interior layer is done, and we're just putting the insulation layer on now. So we've lifted up there. There's no easy way to do it. It's really heavy, so you just have to persevere. We got it up onto the scaffold. Now we've pushed it out over that top compression ring, and we're just about to feed it down with the tabs on the outside. So I'm just feeding this insulation cover down from the inside with a spare roof rafter. Actually, this is a little bit of a shorter bit of timber, to be honest. And I'm being very careful not to push on the interior cloth. You know, I don't want to rip that. So, and then Spaceman's doing the same thing from down there. We're just working together nice and slowly to get this in position. Pretty simple, just time consuming. Okay, so we're just tying the wall insulation onto the roof now. Fairly simple, self-explanatory, but just tying these. If you want this to be removable, i.e. if you think you're going to move your yurt in future, then tie both. So we just finished the waterproof layer. Pretty simple. And now we got the heavy one. This roof layer. I don't know, it's probably a couple of 100 kilos. So we're just halfway through the roof cover. This thing's really heavy. So the only way to do this is to get a few people, get it up onto the scaffold, and then you've got to start feeding it out. If you keep it rolled up in a ball, then you can sort of lift it up here and roll it towards the front door. And then you've just got to gradually start unfolding it. And the main thing now is to get the V, the rain diverter, over the front door. So that's what Spaceman's doing now. He's just making sure that V's in the right spot, and then we can keep unfolding this. Okay, so we've just done the roof outer cover. So I'm just standing in the dome now. And I've just tied it off. And then I've just tucked, because there's a bit of excess cover here. So I've just tucked that around the edge. And then the dome will come and cover over all of this.
Just applying the final outer PVC layer, and you just want to make sure that the two velcros are in alignment and that there's no bowing in the PVC.
So these tabs you can use these, you don't need to. You can use them to tie as you're working your way around so that the whole side doesn't peel back off. All right, well, we just finished putting the outer covers on. So this is usually the stage you want to get to for day 2. Day 1, frame up. Day 2, covers on. And this is usually a good time. We might get the dome up today, but really you don't want to start cutting windows and doors and stuff. You usually wait for a fresh day to tackle those. Otherwise you end up halfway through, and if you get any bad weather in the evening. So yeah, this is it for day 2. Colours are really good. This is our bushland and our sand dune colours. So really happy with how these have turned out. These are new colours. Some of our older model yurts here, this was our evening haze and our pale eucalypt. So we've just slightly tweaked those colours now. And this is definitely going to blend in a little bit more with the natural environment, a little bit softer, a little bit more muted tones. All right, so we're morning of day 3. Day 1, we got the frame up, totally. And day 2, yesterday, we just did the covers, really. We're just about to work on the dome now, getting that fixed on. And then we've got our front door and windows to go. So day 3, we should wrap up today. See how we go.
Rough like that.
Yeah.
It's all your way, so we're securing the dome to the ring at the top. And this here is mainly just a facade. So we'll need to put a hole. There is 50mm metal behind here. So from the top down, so if you swing around, you can see where I've placed one already. Yeah, you can't see, it's too dark, is it? That's the distance you want to come down, and you want to line up between your two rafters. So I'm just going to do that. So just mark a hole 20mm down from the top of the ring to attach your bracket to that, and then that, and that's my X marks the spot for my bracket. And once that bracket's secured in place, your turnbuckle, ideally stretch it out to full distance and come down slightly from that for your hole, so when you put it on you can tighten it up, and we'll go through that once it's in play. Love you.
Love you too.
So this one holds the dome on, and we need to put this through the perspex, but not at full stretch. So I've got it at full stretch, so I want to come down a bit from that. So I've got adjustment, and if I'd have brought my Sharpie with me, not too much pressure on drilling the perspex. It'll grab and it'll crack. Just a nice steady paste to go through. Like it. I start with a pilot hole, but I want to get up to this thread. So I've got a larger drill bit. You can always wear sunscreen because it's very warm. Watch for flailing bits of perspex. We are going to have a volunteer on the outside of the dome shortly to put a nut and washer and silicone on that.
And clean dome.
And clean the dome, yes.
We're just cutting away this plastic waterproof liner. We're just starting to make inroads into installing this door. So initially we're just cutting to give ourselves access, and then we'll start getting more accurate with the trimming once we get a bit further in. So essentially what we're going to be doing, as you can see, this is the door frame here. So our door's going to sit inside here. Our door's going to slide in. So this is our internal material. This is going to get stapled in here. And then our waterproof layer really will follow. And then same with our outer cover. And then our door frame is going to come and sit in here. We're going to fix everything up, silicone in the join, and then put our flashing over the top. Always helps to have really good scissors for this. Go to Bunnings, get some good Fiskars or something like that, or even dressmaking scissors. Probably the best that you can get. So Spotlight or Bunnings, something like that. What we're doing now is we're just cutting the insulation to essentially just in line with the door frame here. We don't need the insulation to wrap between the two because it'll be too thick to get our door frame in. So we're just cutting just a little bit back from the door frame. And again, always start small. You can always cut more. You can't cut less. Just tucking the insulation up out of the way, just to give us a nice clean area to work with. Like so. So essentially now I'm just cutting through that piece right in the corner here, just so that our wall can freely wrap around the inside, perfectly in line with the frame. This will sort out later. This might be able to tuck in this way with the door frame and just stay on there, or we might actually cut this Velcro off. We'll see that in a minute.
Stop enjoying yourself.
Swinging a bit. That's good.
He's on me.
All right, so we've got the interior cloth stapled on. And I've cut the outer cover here to match. So that's what we're after, see? So you've got interior layer, outer cloth, staple them in.
No felt layer.
No felt layer, because it'll be too thick for the door. So it's just those 2 layers that have to get done. And we're just pinning them. They're going to be held in place by the door. They're going to be sandwiched in between the door frame and the door. So we're just getting them like that. That's it. Simple as that. When you get to this stage, make sure that your door frame is the right way up. So if you look at this inset video here, you'll see the door handle being installed. And you'll notice that the largest hole is for the key barrel to fit into. So you want to make sure that that largest hole is at the lowest point, and then your door will be facing the right way. For the rest of this install video, our door is the other way around, so that we had a left-handed door opening outwards. So we actually modified the frame to suit, but you just need to make sure your large hole is at the lowest position, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, so we're just fitting the door. So we've got our outer cover pinned and stapled in like you saw. Really pushing this door tight now. Essentially you can't push it through because it's it'll wedge itself in. So you want to get it nice and tight, and then we'll make sure it's all straight and even on both sides, and then we'll screw it in. So we're just getting this door tucked in now so that it sits nicely in the frame. So what we've done is we've put this door frame in, and we've screwed in just the top corner at this stage. So we've got the top, so that if you come around here, if you look right up here, see we've got the top of the frame flush with the outer frame, so the inside and the outside are flush. And then we've put a screw in just here, one of the longer screws. We've drilled a pilot hole, and then put in our large screw. So what we can now do is we can get the bottom flush before we screw that in. And the way to do that is just with a rubber mallet, or you can push it. So we need to push this in. So we're just using the rubber mallet to get it flush, and we'll fix that in. We'll do the same on that side. And we're good to go. So our door's in now, all of our screws are in. We've just got 4 screws on each door jamb. 4 screws through here, and they're the longest screws in the pack. So they're getting a pretty good purchase through this timber here. And so all we've got left to do is just tidy this up now, which we can cut it off or we can pin it either way, and then silicone the outside of the door. That's ready to go. Okay, so I've just found the middle of our large window. So the glass is behind here. What we want to do now is just start very small. Cut a small hole through and just get through the layers so we can see what's going on, and then we're going to slowly cut out our large window, making sure we've always got enough material. You just go slow on this, start cutting slowly and work your way out. So what I'm doing here is I can actually feel the corner of the window frame. And so I'm cutting at a 45 in that direction. But I want to stop short, so I don't want to go all the way there yet. The only reason I'm doing this is to give us some room so that we can then go and cut away our insulation and interior layer. The same here, I can find the corner of the windows here. So I cut towards it, stop short, and that just gives me a reference now to cut back our insulation slowly. So this insulation layer can come off all the way to the top. So what we've actually done is cut the ties there. I'll do this last one now. And then I'll actually cut that off. So that way the insulation is just on the side of the window. Here's the window frame here. So the insulation is just coming up to the side of the window. We don't need any of it at the top apart from the roof. That's the roof layer there. Cool. All right, so the top of the window frame is here. And this section of the cover already goes past the bottom of the window frame. So in this case, we're pretty safe to cut the outer cover. Also, I can just cut these off. So that's got a nice seal. And we'll do the same on this side. Okay, so you can see that's the window corner there. Yeah, so essentially what we're doing right now is we're cutting everything away so that it's just our interior layer and our exterior layer that we're working with. So what we're going to do now is our interior layer, if you look through here, that's our lattice. This is the end of this wall panel. And then here's the start of our window frame. So our interior cover, our interior layer, only has to go as far as this section so that it looks seamless from the inside and nice and neat and tidy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull our interior layer nice and neat, get it so that there's no creases in it, and then we're just going to find that wall panel and staple it. what I'm doing now is I'm just feeling for that gap between the two panels so that I know where the first panel is. There you go, simple as that. So I'll just put a few more staples in there now, and then we can actually cut that back to there. And then once that's back to there, we can actually, instead of cutting it, we can actually even just fold it in like so, out of the way. And then our outer cover is going to come and fix to the outside of the frame. All right, so what we've got here is we've pinned our interior fabric to the wall frame, and then here on the window frame is where our outer cover is going to come across, and then we've just folded the excess wall fabric out of the way, so it's just sitting nicely along that join. At the top here we have cut away the outer cover entirely. Then in this section all we've done, I'll tidy this up, but I'll cut a bit more of this insulation off. And then under that insulation is just sitting the interior layer. And what we're going to do now is we're going to pull this down and just staple into here. So it's nice and neat and tight all the way along. And then we'll trim this off. So what we've done now is we've got our interior cloth sitting ready, and we've cut our exterior with a little bit of extra so that we can pull it tight. So at the moment it's just slightly more than what we need. And we're going to essentially pin it to this frame like so. Obviously this will be through here when we do that, and then we'll trim this back with a knife. And the other thing is we're just getting this mitered ready. So that's going to sit flush with the bottom of the frame there, which means we've got to chop just a little bit off the top there, as you can see. So we'll cut a little bit off the top of this strip, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm just running a bead of silicone underneath where our outer cover is going to get pinned. So now if you have a look, when I get the outer cover on here, it's just got a bead of silicone, and then we're going to screw this down.
A New Holland honey eater trying to beat the shit out of a little tiny wren.
Bloody honey eaters.
Alright, so we're just about to do this bottom section. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get in here, I'm going to get some silicone down on this join first of all. Like so. Get that rubbed in. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some silicone just between the cover and the frame. All right. And then this is our piece that we've prepared. So we're essentially going to pin this now to there, all the way around, pinning this cover. So we'll show you that in a minute. So with this skirting, we've fixed all of this using a brad nailer, which is really handy if you can. Makes this job way easier. It's just simply putting finish nails in. If you don't have this, you can use bullet head finish nails, and it just keeps it nice and neat instead of having screws or fixings on the outside. All right. So this is a fresh blade, and we're just trimming this off now. Okay, so we've kept this skirting slightly below this one, and that's just so that we can get a really good bead of silicone in here. Right, and then that's going to keep us waterproof. If we were to make that flush, then it's very hard to get a decent seal. So we just want to get a good bead of silicone in here, and that's going to waterproof it. All right, so this is installing the standard window. We're about to do that, and so same principle. We want to cut the material and then pin it to the inside and slot the window frame in. Important thing to do when you're cutting anywhere here is to go outside and to lift the eave flap out of the way, because if we cut through there now and that eave flap is hanging, we'll cut through it. So same deal here, I'm just locating this corner. So this is our window, that's the frame there. I'm locating this corner down here, and I'm just going to head towards it, but I'm going to stop short of it. Cool. So what we've done is we've stapled the interior cloth to here again, same as we did for the door and the other window. And now I'm just trimming back this layer. There you go. Ready for this to now come across and get stapled to the inside of the door frame, the window frame, sorry, and then we'll be ready to insert our window. We've cut just through this section, so the outer cover is peeled off entirely. The insulation layer is off entirely except for the roof. That's actually the roof layer there, that you can see. And so depending on the fit of the window, sometimes there's enough give in the window frame to actually push this like so and get the window pushed tight, and that'll get this really nice and wind sealed. So I'll just cut through here so that this can flap back properly, and then we'll test fit the window. If it fits with this in it, then great. If it doesn't, then we'll actually cut back this insulation and go again and just do it with this outer layer. But if it fits with the insulation, that's actually good because it'll seal it tight from any drafts. So what we've done here, we're just preparing to put our window in. Actually, come around this side, Spaceman. And we've, like we showed you before, we've trimmed our interior layer, and we've pinned that to the inside of our window frame here. We've cut back our insulation and our waterproof plastic layer back past the window frame, and we've cut it out all the way at the bottom, so there's nothing left there at the bottom except for the outer cover. Okay, and what we're going to do now is when you pull this cover over and you pull this cover over, you're always going to end up with a V, with a gap here. So we just need to fill this gap. So we're actually going to make a flashing using an off-cut piece of material, which is big enough. And what we're going to do is lay this in here. And we're actually going to cut a slit the size of the window frame.
Probably better off in there, buddy.
Okay, that's all right. You can just keep running, yeah, it's fine. No worries. Okay, like so. So what we've essentially done now is we've made a nice flashing to come under here, and it's tucked underneath this outer cover, and it's protecting this whole sill. And then this piece is going to come over, this piece is going to come over. We're going to staple this all to the frame, ready for the window to come in. Once that's done, we're still going to put a sill on the outside of this. So this is just extra protection, just a double layer. So this is what you want to end up with once the window has been positioned and made flush with the inside. Then this is essentially what you're going to be looking at. That window is screwed in already. Here's the outer cover. Here's that gap that we were talking about before. So we've got cover underneath from the flashing that we made, and then we've got the outer cover on top, but we're still going to come through and cover this with a sill the whole way anyway. And then this is going to be siliconed. We're also going to put a skirting board, a 1/4 round skirting board in here, and then up the top you've got that little lip there where the cut was. You've got the extra flashing that we made inside of that. On top you've got your roof cover tucked in. Now this eave flap is all going to come down anyway, and it's going to cover that entirely. So no weather's going to get in here. And we're going to cover this with skirting. This is what it looks like on the inside. So we're just cutting the excess material off now. And once that's done, it's going to look like this. And so this is now after silicon, we've just siliconed the edges, even though this is still going to get a skirting piece on it, a timber quarter round. And up the top here, we've also just siliconed in there, even though this is covered from the weather. That'll just stop getting drafts inside and stop from insects and stuff getting in there. Same on the bottom. So on the bottom here we're siliconed well, apart from in the corners where we've got that slight gap, which is going to be covered with a windowsill. So we'll show you that going on. So the last step after finishing our windows is we're just going to install this quarter round pine trim. In here, like so, just with some brad nails through the face, and then just a little bit of silicone. So one of the things that really helps when you're doing this window is what we're trying to do is we're hitting this window in here until it's flush on the inside. So like the finished windows, so we'll show you that in a minute. But rather than always trying to hit the frame inwards to get it flush, sometimes what you need to do is actually go to the next wall panel and hit that outwards. So you have somebody doing that inside while the person outside is just putting pressure on the window frame here. And obviously just go slow with all this step. You don't want to force it. You don't want to twist the window. You know, obviously it's glass, so you just want to take your time. But between tapping the window slightly with the rubber mallet to get it in, try and push with your hands where possible. That's always better than bashing it. But yeah, just keep in mind that you can also push the wall panel outwards. Makes a huge difference. And that brings us to the end of our instructional video. Thanks for watching. Please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have questions during your build, we're here to help. Simply send us a message or give us a call. And we'd also love to see your finished photos once you're done. So get in touch through our social channels or on the website. We'll see you on the other side.